Hi, this is Denise Mathew, and today I'm going to talk about the profile 1-3 in human design. And if you haven't already, please feel free to check out my other videos where you can learn more about human design and how you can use it in your life. So let's get started and explore the characteristics of somebody with the profile 1-3. The profiles are made up of 6 different lines, and there's 12 different combinations that can make up a profile. So everybody has one of these profiles, and it's based on the date and time of birth. The profiles change throughout the day, so somebody who's born on the same day as you may not necessarily have the same profile because the time of their birth is different than yours. The profiles are configured using specific calculations, but they're not calculations that we need to know because they're always given in any body graph that you want to get. In human design, profiles talk about our character and how we operate in the world, and add one more dimension on the information that the human design body graph can give. I've already done videos on how the profile lines act on their own, and today we're going to talk about how they act together. So if you want more information, you can check out the videos I've already done. The profile lines come from the conscious and unconscious sun in the human design body graph. The first number is always going to be the conscious sun, and the second number is always going to be the unconscious sun. So when we talk about the profiles, people might feel they connect more with the first number that we talk about as opposed to the second, depending on their age, because most people will become more aware of their unconscious after the age of 40, but may be less aware of it before that. But just because you're not aware of it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist in your personality and character. Ultimately, both profile lines are equally important. So what does it mean to have a 1-3 profile, and how does it affect your character? Profile 1-3 is made up of the lines of the investigator and also the martyr, also called the experimenter. When someone has the first line in their profile, that means that they are data driven and they like to investigate. And when it's combined with the line 3, they will take all the data and information that they've built up, and then they'll start to experiment to see what works and what doesn't work. So when we talk about a profile 1-3, we're talking about somebody who is consciously investigating. This is someone who needs to have all the data before they do anything in their life. And usually this energy expresses itself as someone who's deeply curious. They're usually not people who like to jump into things quickly and like to have all the information they need before they move in anything. And when they have all the information they feel they need, they'll start to experiment with what they have. And since the nature of experiments are that they are experiments and that sometimes they'll work out and sometimes they don't, people who carry this profile may feel that they make a lot of mistakes in their lives. But in fact, these so-called mistakes are learning opportunities. And from the mistakes and also successes, a 1-3 profile learns the information they need to learn so they can show others what works and what doesn't work. This investigating and experimenting can carry over to the relationships as well, where they may have a difficult time committing until they know all the facts. Just like all people who carry the third line energy, the experimental phase lasts about 40 years, after which they may feel more stable in their life. And they also become wise to what works and what doesn't work. Since all types can have a 1-3 profile, how does it feel for the different types when they carry this profile? When a manifestor carries this 1-3 profile, the first thing that we have to think about is that a manifestor by nature is here to initiate without having to wait for anything. And because they don't always know what's the right thing to initiate, a manifestor can get into trouble because they may not know what's right and what's not right for them. But when they carry the 1-3 profile, the need for information and collecting of data can slow them down enough so that they're making experiments that are going to work better for them. The only downside is if a manifestor is doing a lot of experimenting and everybody wants to know what they're doing, the manifestor may stop informing and become more secretive. And because the strategy of a manifestor is to inform before they initiate, this may cause issues in their life. So the important thing for a manifestor with this profile is to inform and then go ahead and investigate and experiment with whatever they want to do. Because manifesting generators and also generator strategies are pretty close to being the same, I'm just going to group them into one when I talk about the 1-3 profile. In fact, this profile is pretty good for the generator types because since their strategy is to wait for something to show up before they act, a generator can easily be doing the data collection and information gathering while they're waiting for something to show up so that they can begin the experimental stage of the process. And because they're doing something while they're waiting, the waiting time may not seem as long and they may feel less frustrated while they're waiting to perform the experiments that they prepared for. And the key with a generator who carries this 1-3 energy is to wait for something to show up in their utter reality before they move on to the experimental part of their profile. When a projector carries the 1-3 profile, it can sometimes be a little difficult. Because a projector's role is to guide and direct others based on their experience, if they're not recognized and asked for the information, they can be ignored, and they may feel that the investigating and experimenting that they've done is of no value, or also have a fear that they'll never be asked for the information that they have. And that fear may cause them to start blurting out information and giving other people advice even if it's not asked for. But if a projector follows their strategy and has faith in the concept that they will be asked for the information at the right time, they will be able to share the experience they've gained with the right people at the right time. When a reflector carries the energy of a 1-3 profile, they can investigate and gather the data that they need, and this can be done while they wait out their moon cycle. And if they do this, the experimenting that they do will be correct for them. And because of the nature of who they are and how their environment plays such a big role in their life, usually the investigation and experimenting that they do is related to the community that they live in. Knowing your profile is just the beginning of the information that the body graph will show you. But I'm going to stop here for now and let you digest what I've talked about. And make sure to check out my other videos where you can learn more and more information about human design and the body graph and all about you. Because when we truly know who we are, life just gets easier.